All right, let's talk about something that might just flip the way you think about quitting completely on its head. We're going to explore this really powerful idea that giving up isn't a failure at all. In fact, it's a privilege, something you actually have to earn. It's all about the freedom you find after you've done the hard work, not before.
You've probably asked yourself this, right? How do I find what I'm truly passionate about? It's a huge question, and honestly, the answer can feel impossible to find. Our source for this explainer says it's the single most common question people ask. But what's really interesting isn't the question itself, it's what that question says about a much, much deeper problem we all seem to have.
And here's the core of it. Think about it. From the time we're kids, we get rewarded for following instructions. You get an A+ for filling in the bubbles correctly, a pat on the back for coloring inside the lines. But when did anyone ever praise you for just starting something from scratch, with a blank piece of paper? We've basically been trained out of the skill of starting something that nobody asked us to do. So what happens? Well, this whole system, it creates this kind of invisible cage. And it's built not just from what other people expect of us, but from the expectations we put on ourselves. We end up living our lives following a script that we never even wrote in the first place. And the result is that we lose a skill that should be totally natural, the ability to just begin, to initiate. So when we're finally given the freedom to choose our own adventure, we just freeze up. We've completely forgotten how to listen to that little voice inside that says, hey, what if I just tried this? So how in the world do we break out of this cage? Well, the key is something our source calls unsolicited work. This is the stuff you do that nobody tells you to do, nobody's paying you for it, and maybe nobody even gets it. But this is your escape route.
Okay, so just look at the difference here. On one side, you've got assigned work. It's the safe path. You follow the rules, you meet expectations, you get the praise. Easy. But then there's unsolicited work. This is the tough stuff. It's like hacking your own path through a jungle. It's hard, it's inconvenient, and people might even criticize you for it. But that's exactly where you build your true self.
And this is a real example. This is the kind of thing people said to the author when they started writing about science for everyday people, instead of just sticking to their official academic research. Everyone saw it as a total waste of time, a distraction. But guess what? That useless work ended up being the exact thing that built the foundation for their entire career.
So here's the big takeaway. The fact that unsolicited work is difficult, that's not a bug, it's a feature. It's in that struggle, when you're off the easy path, that you dig up what you're genuinely passionate about. It's how you build a real identity that doesn't need anyone else's approval. Okay, so how do we actually do this? How do we find the courage to do this hard stuff? There's a really beautiful metaphor for this. Think of your true purpose, your real goal, as a star. Now, to see a star, you can't be standing around in the middle of a bright sunny day, can you?
Right? That bright, sunny day, that's the world of assigned work and easy praise. It's like being in a city full of bright lights and billboards. The glare from all those expectations and approvals is so blinding, you can't possibly see the stars. It's only when you get out of the city, away from all that noise and light, and you step into the real darkness, that's when the stars pop. That darkness is the uncomfortable, challenging space of unsolicited work. Your true goal only becomes clear when you strip away all the easy distractions and just sit with the difficulty. So this kind of lays out the roadmap. First, you have to choose to go into the darkness. You deliberately put yourself in a more challenging situation. Second, you push yourself to do those tasks nobody is asking for. And finally, in that quiet, focused, difficult space, you create the perfect conditions for your guiding star, your true goal, to just appear. But here's the thing. A lot of the time, the harshest environment isn't something out there in the world. It's the one we build inside our own heads. This next part is all about getting the courage to shatter your own self-imposed limits. We all operate within something called a scope of permission. Basically, these are the invisible walls, the rules and boundaries we set for ourselves. And here's the crazy part. The walls you build around yourself are almost always way smaller and stricter than any of the walls the rest of the world puts on you. Now, I know this sounds a little harsh, but seriously, this might be the most freeing sentence you hear all day. We hold ourselves back because we're so scared of what other people will think. But the truth is, nobody is paying that much attention. They're all busy being the main character in their own movie. Your fear of being judged is probably the only thing really holding you back. So the advice here is pretty simple. Just test those boundaries. Gently tap on the walls you've built. You'll probably be shocked at how easily they start to crumble. Take one small step outside of them. I promise the world won't end. and you'll realize you have so much more freedom than you ever thought.
And that brings us to the final, and maybe the most important piece of the puzzle. We're about to completely redefine what it means to give up.
We all do this, right? We put our dreams on hold. We say, oh, I'll start writing that book someday, or I'll try that new thing when the time is perfect. But someday, it isn't real. It's just an excuse we tell ourselves so we can stay comfortable.
Here's the hard truth. Life is never going to hand you a perfect time to start. There's always going to be a reason to wait, an excuse. The only real time you have is right now. The only time to start that unsolicited, difficult, amazing work is this very moment.
And this is where it all comes together. Giving up is not weakness. It's a special privilege. It's an honor that is only for people who have tried with everything they have, who have pushed themselves to their absolute limit. The person who truly goes all in, who works like their life depends on it, that's the person who has earned the right to stand back and say, okay, I saw this through, and now I can choose a new path. So I'll just leave you with this question. Forget about someday. Stop waiting for someone to give you permission. What's that difficult, inconvenient, maybe even useless thing that you secretly can't stop thinking about? What is the unsolicited work that you are going to start today?